I don't know. I just somehow have a knack for hurting myself in the weirdest places. Put me in a room that doesn't have a flat floor. And
Can't figure it out.
I will be on my face. It's ridiculous. Everyone, and welcome to Life with the Cheri on Top. I'm your host, Cheri Hagan, and today I am joined once again by my beautiful husband, Kevin. Hey, baby.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So last time we spoke, we did something very kind of heavy and thought-invoking, and I just wanted to do something a little more fun today.
All right. What are we doing?
So in terms of fun, I guess I mean making fun of myself. Because,
all right, this is going to be great.
Yeah, because I want to talk about like different injuries and like just accidents and things because so many weird things have happened to me. I think the list is shorter of the bones I haven't broken in my life than the ones that I have.
Yeah, yes.
So I just want to talk about it because I think it's fun.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Well, I did mention it in a recent podcast. We mentioned one of the injuries in Mexico.
One of the many injuries in Mexico was mentioned. One of them.
Just one. Yes, because there are many.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we go to Mexico a lot, obviously. We love Mexico. We love the vibe. It's beautiful beaches. I love the people. I speak the language-ish. So I love it. And
it's just relaxing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good break from our
real life.
running crazy day lives.
Yeah. So my last injury in Mexico was in 2022. Yeah. So we're at one of our favorite resorts. And here's what you got to know about Mexico hotels. I don't know why they're all like this, but they are. They're never on an even flooring. So, like, the bathroom floor is just 1 inch higher than the hallway or vice versa.
Yeah, and this particular one had it was just a 1 inch higher lip.
Yeah,
like
it was nuts.
Where the door closed, it was higher than the floor, and it was higher than the outside patio.
Yeah. It was that way throughout the hotel. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not just that one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of everywhere. So if you're really not paying attention, you have to. And I will say, this had nothing to do with alcohol. I had been drinking, but it has nothing to do with alcohol. I'm the first to admit, hey, I was drunk and I fell or whatever, but that was not the case. We were leaving the restaurant for dinner or from dinner, I guess. And there were no restrooms in the restaurant. So you had to go outside of the restaurant to use the restroom nearest that particular restaurant. And when I walked out, there was a 1 inch difference.
Because it wasn't there when you walked in.
Well, but I don't know. No, it wasn't.
You said it makes fun of Cheri.
You know what? It is. Totally it is.
It was the same entrance and exit.
No, hang on. Because when you walked from the restaurant into the bathroom, you were on the same tile. When you walked from the bathroom and I was walking towards you, which now you're out of the restaurant, there was a small step. Not a normal step, just like a lip almost. Anyway, I, of course, fell and rolled my foot and ankle, and of which I have done so many ridiculous amount of times. And I snapped, 3 bones in my foot and broke my ankle.
Yeah.
And being the trooper that I am, and not wanting to go to a Mexican hospital for the 3rd time in 3 years, I was like...
They know you by name over there.
Right? They're like, oh, here comes the crazy white lady again. So I didn't go. I was like, you know what? I'll just take care of it when we get home. Mm-hmm. And so I was the tough Irish girl that I am, and I drank through it. And so for 5 days, Right? Yeah, because it happened on the first
It
night.
was first every time. It's the
Every
first goddamn
time.
night.
Every time it's on the first night. So I was hobbling around, and I think I tried to wrap it at one point, didn't I?
Yeah.
I wrapped it, and then I just stayed in the pool. And the pool is unheated, so it's like having an ice pack on your foot
It's kind of cold.
for 12 hours.
It was in January or December.
Yeah. And then I, drank and managed. I mean, it was fine. I couldn't wear a shoe on that foot ever, so I had to wrap it up every night when we went to dinner because it was huge.
When we got home, how long did it take you to go see somebody?
I was busy with real estate work, so it took me 3 months to get to the doctor. But I got there.
And then there was nothing they could do.
Right. Because it had healed all wrong.
Healed the wrong way.
Yeah. But I did, but that's like literally just one of so many injuries. What is your like best injury story?
Injury story. Well, it's got to be playing football when I got my leg tagged and tore my MCL and ACL all with one hit.
Yeah.
And you could hear it pop from
Yikes.
a mile away. And that started the whole fun
Knee surgery.
30 whatever knee surgeries I've had at this point with scopes and replacements and blah, blah, blah.
You haven't had 30. It was 29 at last count.
Okay. Sorry.
But, yeah.
29. I was just rounding slightly up. So, yeah, injury wise, I don't think that's the only really injury I had.
Really?
I think so. I'm trying to think. Everything else is just falling apart because I'm old.
Wait, you've never broken another bone?
Oh, I've broken bones. I playing softball in Chicago. You're breaking fingers all the time, right?
16-inch ball will do it every time.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
pop them out, put a popsicle sticker on them, and keep playing.
My dad and I used to do that with my fingers. Used to piss my mother off to no end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I've got weird knuckles sometimes.
Yeah, me too. That's why every single finger on my hands, both of them, are crooked.
I will, now that you say this, with my one finger is really kind of weird. And because a friend of mine who lived a block away when we were kids, we used to take our Hot Wheels or G.I. Joes and smash them with a hammer.
Oh my God, that's such a boy thing. Okay.
Well,
I know you're a boy. I get it.
Yes, I am. So for some reason, I have no idea why, I was holding on to one of them and he smashed it along with my finger. And it was like I was racing the car down this hill and he's like, "Oh, I'll get it." And
Oh my God.
It was a massive hammer, for what age we were, I can't remember, but he hit my pinky, and that one's really all it's pretty messed up. But yeah, that was a fun one. I had to go home and tell my mom, "Check this out, so and so hit me with the hammer." That was a hard explanation to do at the doctor's office 10 times over. Well, who was it? I'm like, this wasn't an attack. It's just dumb.
He's my best friend.
Dumb idiots. That's all. I've had a lot of surgeries. I just don't think I've had a lot. The injury is really from the first injury from football.
Wow.
I got smashed.
I have so many. So I'm opposite. I have so many injuries and not very many surgeries.
Yeah.
So should I tell the mandolin story?
Oh God, yeah. But you might hear my mic shut off here in a little bit.
So I had wanted to, for those who don't know what a mandolin is, I'm not talking about the instrument. I'm talking about the kitchen utensil, or the kitchen. It's not a utensil, the kitchen gadget. And it's basically a slicer. Mm-hmm. And I was holding a zucchini. We just bought this thing. And I was holding a zucchini and I was slicing it on the mandolin at a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Because we like to grill zucchini on the grill in the summer. And so I was slicing this thing and I you go back and forth really fast and it's a breeze. And I turned my head to say to Kevin, oh my God, I love this thing. And I sliced my finger from bottom knuckle to fingernail.
To the top.
Yeah.
And literally took a quarter of an inch
off my finger.
That finger.
Yeah. And so when I turned around, I mean, obviously you knew what I had done. And I looked and I could see the bone and I was like, okay. So I started running my hand under the kitchen sink and I said to Kevin, go get me a towel. And again, I know I've mentioned this before.
The calmness of her and the craziness of me.
Yes. I'm totally calm, cool, and collected. And he is freaking out. First of all, the first words out of his mouth was, do you remember?
I fucking knew you were going to do that.
Yeah. That's exactly what he said to me. I was like, okay, could you go get me a towel? So he comes back with a washcloth. And now...
Which is a towel.
It's not a towel.
Well, it has.
And so now, I mean, I have blood dripping down my elbow. And I mean, it's not just a little blood.
Yeah.
It's a lot, And I'm like, Kevin, seriously, I don't need a fucking washcloth. Go get me a towel. He comes back with a hand towel. And I just look at him and I'm like, seriously, do you not know what a towel is? Go get me a towel. And he's like running back and forth and then he comes back. I'm not even joking. He comes back with nothing and goes, well, which towel do you want? I'm like, dude, I don't care. I just need a towel. So he brings the towel and he does have the wherewithal to put my finger, because it was sliced clean off. He did put it in a baggie and then, of course, took a picture. And then...
With ice.
With ice, yes. And then we left to go to the hospital and we're driving down the road and I've got my arm, it's my right arm and I'm right-handed. And so I've got my right hand, I'm obviously the passenger. I've got my right hand over my head.
Surprisingly, I was good enough to drive.
Yes, you were. You were.
And my wits about me at that point.
And we're driving down the road and we're heading towards the hospital. And I said, you know what? Why don't you just stop at the urgent care, because it's right here, and let's see if this is something they could do.
Yeah.
And so he ran in with my finger. I
did not have the confidence in that stop at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would we do this? These guys they do a 2-stitch deal. This was not a 2-stitch cut.
No, but in fairness, he ran in with my finger in the bag and said, my wife just got off her finger. Can somebody sew this back on? And they said, oh yeah, bring her in.
Yeah. So
we went in and they obviously saw me right away. And he was reattaching the finger. And I remember asking him at the end, how many stitches was that? And he was like, oh my God, I lost count after like 70. He's like, I wasn't counting. But yeah, it was quite the ordeal. And then I went back home and they had given me, they shot me up with lidocaine in the finger, and then they had given me, I think, a Darvocet or something there. And then I went home and Kevin continued to cook our dinner after we cleaned the crime scene in the kitchen. Yeah. There was blood everywhere.
P.S. We didn't have any zucchini.
Yeah, we did not. He was cooking and I thought, well, I'll have a glass of wine, which turned into a bottle because I wasn't paying attention.
You had a little before we left, but then the rest of it was gone after during dinner, I think. And I'm like, why would...
Well,
I really wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. I don't think you noticed. And then all of a sudden I was standing there. I was going to start cleaning up. Mm-hmm. And I stood up and I was like, whoa, I am really fucked up. And you looked and you were like, you drank a whole bottle of wine on top of the painkillers? And I was like, I did? He's like, oh my God, go sit down. How many other times have I injured myself with you?
Well, walking.
I know there was
first night in Vegas when I was up there for. Oh, you came in for work or something. You tripped out going out of the.
No, I
into the
can't even
hallway.
say. I can't even say why we were there because I'm not allowed. But yeah, it's we were there for an occasion. It wasn't work, and you were there for work.
But I had dinner. You were meeting me.
I was
and a
meeting
client.
Rudy for the first
Oh,
time.
it was Rude. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah. So you were coming down. I had already been at dinner or something. I forget how this was, but you were.
You guys were.
You were alone in the room, or you just got there.
My flight was delayed.
That's okay. So I was already there.
You were at dinner.
I was at dinner with him, and you were coming to meet us, and then.
Yeah. So, this was many, many years ago, and my flight had been delayed by like 2.5 or 3 hours, and he was having dinner with his host at Paris Hotel, and it was a big deal to finally get to meet him, and I was already late. So I ran in the room and I changed my clothes really quick and I put on what I call CFM shoes in Vegas. When you're younger and you haven't broken your foot 7,000 times, CFM to me means come fuck me shoes. And so I put on my CFM shoes and now I'm headed out the door of our suite. And again, there's a little lip. There's a raised marble threshold, and the top of the toe of my shoe catches that threshold, and I go flying into the hallway, and my whole foot bent over backwards, and you heard snap, 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 snap. And so first of all, I looked around like, who just saw me, right? Thankfully, the hallway was empty. And then I crawled back into the room and I called downstairs to just to the front desk. And I was like, is there such thing as a hotel doctor? They were like, what's wrong? And I said, oh, I'm sure I just broke my foot. And they were there like in 5 seconds, but not the doctor. It was them like asking me to sign my life away so that I wasn't going to sue Caesars.
Right.
Yeah, which was fine. I had no intention of suing anybody. It was my own fault. And he had no idea that any of this was happening. And then I eventually made my way downstairs to dinner. And by then you guys were done with dinner and you were having drinks. And I came limping in. And so I had one CFM shoe on and my other foot was wrapped. And so I'm like hobbling in, and I think I had crutches. I did.
Yeah.
I had crutches.
Did they give them to you at the hotel then?
I think so.
I can't remember that because I know we went
We ended up at the hospital later that night.
Later.
Oh, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe I had a cane. I had something because I couldn't walk without it.
I thought you did too, but it must have been given to you by this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, so. But
Well-
yeah, you walked in with a cane. You walked in with a cane, and I think you went. One shoe was not the a flat shoe, and the other foot was wrapped.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would make more sense. So anyway, I come in with one shoe and my foot wrapped, and Kevin's looking at me as I'm walking across the restaurant. He's looking at me like, "What the hell happened to you?" And I'm like, I'm doing the like.
Don't ask.
Yeah, just don't even ask. I'll talk to you about it later. And so I sat down, and you said, "Everything good?" And I said, "Everything's fine. I just need a drink." And so we sat and drank with Rudy for a while, and Rudy left. And then I said, well, let's go gamble or whatever. I was just like, I'm going to forget this even happened. The hotel doctor wrapped it in an ace bandage, and then that was all he could do. So I went and had dinner turns out drinks with you, and then we gambled. And then when we went upstairs to go to bed, I don't think you were even asleep an hour before I woke you up. And I was like, I cannot deal with this. I've got to go to the hospital. You have not lived until you have been in a Las Vegas hospital.
2 a.m.
Was it Friday or Saturday?
It was a Friday night.
Okay. On a Friday night at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
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 Oh my God. It is really an
It's
experience.
awesome. Yeah. That should be a
TV show
in itself. Yeah.
It really should.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Remember? Okay, so it's at a certain point, they take you out of where you first check in, and they bring you into like this emergency room waiting area where there's like 100 other people waiting to be seen. Mm-hmm. And you sat down next to the guy. And
something started moving on him.
And I'm standing at the desk because it was the only seat available. And Kevin's like, "Are you going to sit?" And I said, "I'm not. No, not sitting, not next to him." So you went to sit down, and the minute you did, I was like, "Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up." And I was on the other side of the room, but I'm like waving you over. And so you get up and you come over and you're like, "What?" And I'm like, "He has maggots in his beard that are moving." Oh, it was so disgusting.
He was the best one there.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
I mean, you guys can do your own visual on this, but, Friday in Vegas and just take it from there.
Yeah.
Why would you end up in the hospital? Well, many different reasons.
Uh-huh.
And breaking an ankle or a foot
was not
on
priority.
top priority. So we sat there for hours.
13
and
hours.
Hours and hours.
13 hours we were there. Yeah. Before I got my crutches and went on my merry way.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah. I don't know. I just somehow have a knack for hurting myself in the weirdest places because of all the times I've been to Colorado and I've been hiking and I've been mountain climbing and never one injury, not once. Put me in a room that doesn't have a flat floor and
Can't figure it out.
I will be on my face. It's ridiculous. I mean, some of that has to do with MS and balance issues.
Yeah.
But not all of it.
Yeah.
Like I can't even blame it on either of those incidents. Can I blame on that?
Yeah.
It was just me being graceful. I'm such a ballet graceful. Not. I'm joking.
Well, there's one thing for sure. You walk with your head up because you don't see down. You don't
That's
see
right.
the little lip every time you go.
And it almost happened again when we were just in Mexico.
Yes.
You yelled at me. We had just walked out. We just checked in.
Yep.
And I tripped on the floor.
Yep. It's
in the hallway.
Like, it's not a joke anymore. It's like now for the first 24 hours, I put her in bubble wrap anywhere we go. It's like we can't do this every time. We got to start coming in a day earlier.
Just to take care of my injuries. Yeah. It is ridiculous. You seriously haven't broken anything else? Like I've broken my back in a car accident, my neck in a car accident, ribs, shoulders, elbows, roller skating, skateboarding, wrists, but nothing. All the shit that you used to do, like all the stunts you used to do.
Yeah.
You never broke anything?
No, just fingers from mostly softball and a hammer.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I fell off the Tangle Tower. Well, my brother pushed me off the Tangle Tower because he was king of the tower. And I was up there for a while. But when he got up there, I wiped out from the top to the bottom on my left side. I still have little, like, clots. And I didn't break anything. But I've got two clots, one on my arm and one by my ear.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And my doctor's always like, well, if they don't move, don't worry about them. I'm like, okay, that sounds great.
Well,
but they
been
never
50 years.
Yeah, they
so
never have.
Good.
They've never moved. So, I mean, I can't think of anything else. I've never.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Yeah, I was. Yes, I was working at Service Merchandise doing inventory.
All of his stories start that way. I love that.
What's that? At Service Merchandise.
Service Merchandise, yeah.
A lot of years in those. I was doing an inventory, and I got my inventory done. So it's an overnight thing, right? You do it overnight, Saturday night, and the prep going in is the big part. So we prepped for 15 hours, and I was there for the whole 15 to prep, and then we did the inventory in less than 8.
Yeah.
So my district manager asked me to go to another store and help out. with their inventory. So I went over there and helped out with their inventory. And then I was driving home and I fell asleep. And my car ran off the road and it flipped twice. And they put me in the hospital because I thought I had a neck injury or a back injury, but I didn't. And so that's the only car accident.
rolled a car twice, falling asleep, and walked away without any injuries.
I didn't walk. I walked away the day after.
Wow. Yeah. You're like, Stretch Armstrong. That's what I was thinking, because you couldn't hurt him. Remember Stretch Armstrong?
Yeah, I probably look more like Cartman than I do Stretch Armstrong. It was a big bone. I mean, knock on wood, I was lucky as hell. It was in a Toyota, so kudos to Toyota. I
guess. Were there airbags back in those days?
Yeah, this wasn't Fred Flintstone time. Yeah, I mean, that was...
No, seriously. When you worked at Service Merchandise, I don't think there were any airbags in cars.
I don't know.
There wasn't an airbag in my car in my first accident.
No.
And in my second accident, when I broke my back, there was an airbag, but it never went off, which was ridiculous. So Honda, I was in my Honda Accord.
Yeah.
And my face hit the steering wheel. I broke the whole left side of my face.
Right.
And broke my back. There was black ice on I-88 on my way to work. And I saw the car in front of me, like kind of fishtail.
Mm-hmm.
And like an idiot, I tapped my brake to slow down. First of all, people don't ever do that. Because that's exactly what'll happen. You'll lose control of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And car just went spinning. And I flew off of I-88. I was probably doing 70 miles an hour at the time. And flew off into the ditch. Called 911 from my cell phone. The 911 operator started yelling at me and telling me that when you're in a car accident, you are not supposed to call 911. You're supposed to dial, I think, star 999 or whatever the hell it is.
I've never heard of that.
Oh my God, she was screaming at me. And I was like, seriously, just get somebody fucking here.
It's an emergency.
Yeah. And then I called, so I hung up with 911 and I called my boss, who's hopefully listening to this. Hi, Rick. I called Rick and I said, hey, I'm going to be late. And then I just lost it. I became hysterical. And he was like, what's wrong? Where are you? And he finally got it out of me that, I was in a car accident. I was at I don't know why. Because again, whenever things happen to me that are going to be bad, everything slows down to slow motion. I knew what mile marker I was at. And I was like, I'm at mile marker, whatever, on I-88 on my way in. I'm in the ditch. And at that time, I kept seeing the ambulance pass me. They couldn't find me. They couldn't see me.
Yeah.
Because I was so far down in the ditch.
Yeah.
So he found me. He came and found me first and then flagged the paramedics down.
Mm-hmm.
Paramedics load me in the ambulance. This would only happen to me. I'm in the ambulance. We had just pulled off the shoulder onto the road, and the ambulance gets rear-ended from the same black ice. Swear to God. The paramedic was like, I can't believe that just fucking happened. He goes, I got to go check on those people and make sure they're okay. I'm like, go. And I'm just sitting there or laying there, So he gets out, he makes sure they're okay, he comes back in. Now we're off to the hospital. And then Rick said he knew he beat me to the hospital because he hadn't been rear-ended. And then he was in the waiting room and he said, I knew you were going to be okay when he heard me screaming at the emergency room doctor. And I'll never forget this either because it was a good-looking young doctor who was flirting with a good-looking young nurse. Mm-hmm. The nurse is on my left. He's on my right. I'm strapped to a board. And he's literally flirting with her and looking at her I know this because I can't move my head and I'm looking straight up at his face. And he's poking, he's got what do you call those things? The ENT uses them to look into your ears. It's, I can't believe I can't remember the word. But
I don't know
it's
know
pointy.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pointy and it has the light. Well, he's not paying attention. So he's like stabbing me in the ear with this thing while he's talking to her. I'm not even joking, asking her out on a date. And I just went nuts. I was like, can you fucking work on your love life later and maybe worry about the patient right in front of you? And Rick was like, oh, yeah, I knew you'd be okay the minute I heard you screaming at the emergency room, doctor. I'm like, oh, my God. Again, that would only happen to me. So he refused to treat me. He stepped away. Like that's supposed to be my punishment or something. I'm like, good.
No.
Go get me somebody who doesn't want to flirt with the nurse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, crazy stories. And that's only some of them.
Yeah. Let's keep it at that, though. From now on, let's have no more.
Yeah, no, I would love if there were no more. There's going to be. There's totally going to be, but I would love if there's no more. Yeah, I just wanted to make this kind of a fun, light podcast because the other ones have been kind of heavy lately, I think.
All right.
So, yeah, if you've had any fun injuries or if you want to share any stories with me, please feel free to do so. You can reach out to me at lifewithasheriontop@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, www.lifewithasheriontop.com. Cheri is spelled Cheri. Please subscribe and hit that like button and give me a 5-star review. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye now.